What is up, guys? How we doing? I just wanted to say thank you for your support on the videos the last couple days. I know yesterday was a political one, and I'm sorry. I said I wasn't gonna do any more political videos, but god damn it! Like, what do you do? What do you do? I could make 17 more videos on the subject, but the fact is, man, is what pisses me off the most about everything is this is a horrible injustice to the thousands of victims of Epstein, and the so blatant lying is just pisses me off. It really does, man. It's basically a giant tweet saying, hey, you, I know you've been supporting me for a decade now, but hey, you're asking questions. That makes you a leftist. I'm sorry, but you're selfish. You're asking questions. You just need to trust what I say and ignore all the evidence for the last 6 years. We have the perfect administration. Perfect. Not flawed at all. That's a very Trump thing to say. Anyway, moving on. I want to talk about a controversial subject. Tipping. I've talked about tip baiting. I've talked about gig apps. I've talked about waiting tables. I've talked about it all, but I have avoided talking about tipping specifically because, well, it's something everybody seems to have an opinion on. I think we should look at both sides of the argument on this and talk about it. So let's start off with the non-tipping side. When it comes to gig apps specifically, I get it, okay? I get it. You're getting raw dogged on both ends is what's happening. You're getting fees out the ass, a fee for a service fee, a fee. And you're probably thinking that those $70 in fees goes to the driver. And so not only have I tried very carefully talking about this and saying, hey, clearly, like, this is mostly on the company. Because not only do they suggest the tip amount, but tip shouldn't even be the word, it should be payment. They're not transparent about the fact that they don't pay us, and that all these fees go to us. So on gig apps, I can understand why so many people don't tip. Also, I understand why people are getting annoyed with tipping in general. Everything requires you to tip these days. Everything. But, okay. At the end of the day, you are choosing to use a service where food spawns at your door. The person that is 100% the reason why that service is able to happen relies on your payment. Should they? Should it be that they rely on your payment? Should the company be paying them? Well, on this one, I don't think so. I think it would be selfish of me to say that in my market, yes, that we should be W-2 employees, because in not all markets is it as bad as mine. This is quite literally a service that you're asking to be done for you. So yes, you should pay your driver for doing that service. Especially with like Instacart. Like on Vulnerable 1 and Part 2, I was trying to talk about like my mental health being at like an all-time low, and I think a large part of it has to do with the jobs I'm doing. Like Instacart, I really thought was going to be more, I don't know. I just figured people wouldn't expect you to shop 3 hours for them, drive 15 miles for them for no tip. That's insane. That's insane, because at the end of the day, a service is being done for you. You want that service to be done for you. And then you're complaining about tipping the person that did that service for you. You don't have to do the service. You can shop for yourself, you can cook, you can go pick up the food yourself. I've never once used DoorDash or any gig app. Never used Uber, never used any of it. Because I pinch pennies too. I fuck paying for delivery. I'm gonna go get it myself. I don't order delivery and then say, fuck you, I'm not tipping, you're entitled for expecting a tip. And the most common argument I hear whenever it comes to tipping, especially for restaurants as well, in other countries, restaurants don't tip. That's cool. Okay, in other countries, they also have free healthcare and education. Oh, what? Suddenly you don't want to adopt other countries' ideals? It's kind of funny how you're always on the side of selfishness. The thing is Moist Critical made a video a month ago about tipping and how he's so passionate about it and how the company should pay our wage so then it's not your responsibility. Here's the deal, okay? Yes, servers make $6 an hour, but say it's January and it's the 14th of January and you work 4 hours, you get 0 tables. The restaurant makes up the difference. So if you work 4 hours and you make $6 an hour, you make $24, and that's less than minimum wage, they pay that difference. So you never make less than minimum wage waiting tables. And waiting tables is one of the few ways you can make more than minimum wage. The reason why implementing what other countries are doing with restaurants wouldn't work is because we didn't start out doing that. If we would have started out to where restaurants paid your wage and not the customer, well, then that would make sense. But simply not tipping and using, well, other countries don't do it is fucking stupid. Because here's the deal. Tomorrow, if every restaurant in America paid the server's wage, not only would servers make less money, Charlie, I'm talking directly to you on this one. Not only would servers make less money, since you seem to be so passionate about it, even though you're a middle-aged fucking middle-class white guy who's never waited a day in your life, love that you're talking about this. Not only would servers make less money, but the consumer would be paying more. It would quite literally be a lose-lose situation. So, when it comes to waiting tables, though, people usually tip. People are sweet. What you don't do is go out to eat and then complain about the tipping part. If you have the money to go out to eat, you have the money to tip. Now, I get it. There's some shitty servers out there. Believe me, I've dealt with so many shitty servers. It seems like getting a server that actually, cares is hard. It's hard to find these days. You can tell their customer service voice is fake, and especially with picking up at restaurants, just a basic, hey, how long is this gonna be? You know? Oh, they're working on it. I don't know. Okay, great. Could you ask, please? I ain't rushing you. I would just like to know a time frame on this order. If it's gonna be 5 minutes, if it's gonna be 20 minutes, you saying they're working on it gives me zero information. If I was waiting tables and somebody came in and said, hey, I'm here for delivery, I would walk back to the kitchen, say how long on this order, and come back with a time frame. Dealt with a shit ton of shitty servers, so I understand if you don't tip based on shitty service. But using a service, going to a restaurant where you know that their wage depends on you, and then just not serving because it's not your problem, that makes you an asshole. I'm getting very tired of doing a job where I am treated like I'm a peasant by people that don't know how to put in an address correctly. I'm getting really tired of being treated like a peasant for doing a service for somebody that's too lazy to shop for themselves or pick up their own fucking food, as if you have a gun to your head, as if your only choice in life is to not cook and not go get it yourself. What did you do before DoorDash existed or Instacart existed? I guess you just had to shop. It really says a lot about your work ethic, to be honest with you. But whatever. Gig apps and waiting tables, I don't think they're fair to compare to each other. Because gig apps are so, as I said at the beginning, they butt fuck you with fees, okay? None of that comes to us, and they're not transparent. So, there's legitimately people out there that think these gig companies pay us, and they don't. And that's on the gig companies. Now, but it is worth mentioning that there are people out there that just straight up don't care. That would use the service anyway, tell you to get a better fucking job, but then if everybody did that, how would you clog your arteries on the couch? And then, they just go on to insult you for expecting to be paid for the service that you provided for them. At the end of the day, you're an asshole that wants free service. You're an asshole that thinks somebody's time is so invaluable that you are owed free service. That you are owed somebody's time to shop for you. And there's no other way to sum that up other than you're an asshole. If it wasn't for that, the job would be worth doing. You literally, quite literally, make it not worth doing. Go get a better job is a pretty shitty response to the fact that you're making the job not worth doing. Now let's talk about restaurants, since your main argument for not tipping there is that other countries don't do it and that the establishment should pay our wage, because then we'd make more money, even though it's quite the opposite. We would make less money and you would pay more money than if you just tipped. Logic. Not to mention, like, it doesn't even matter if I'm doing the job or not. Even if I was doing something else and had a flourishing career, this is still the facts of this situation. So, like, your just logic doesn't apply, but you have no logic, so what the fuck are we talking about? Another thing is, you know, if they did pay an hourly wage, well, it would be a less sought after position. You know, you have some nights where you'll work 12 hours without being able to breathe for a single minute. And on those nights, you're rewarded with more money. And then you have days that's slow as shit and you make less money. Instead of getting paid the same hourly rate for working 10 times as hard in 1 hour and standing around the next. So the way that it's set up, in my opinion, makes a lot more sense. Because if you were just to be paid hourly, then yeah, sometimes you would get your ass kicked and you would get paid the same amount on days where you barely work. And that's one thing that I personally love about serving, is that how much money you make is up to how good you are and how hard you work at your job. Which is quite ironic that the people that are against it are the people that are against handouts and are hard workers. Brother, I would take any position you do and do it better. Call that arrogance, but I know I would. Meanwhile, you wouldn't last a day on the floor. You know why? Because you sum it up to, oh, well, you're just bringing, food to tables. That's not what servers do. If what a good server does is they provide a memorable experience. And, I would love to see how you would react to 2 10 tops, 2 5 tops, 2 4 tops, a 3, and a couple 2s. Like, I pinch pennies too, man. So I go get the food. If I order pizza, I go pick it up because I don't want to tip the fucking driver. I don't just get the driver to come anyway and then say, fuck you. I don't order DoorDash because I just would rather pick it up myself. I don't eat out, honestly. But if I were, I would just pick it up because why? What? I don't order people to shop for me. I just go do it myself. Like, you don't have to use these services. You don't have to go out to eat. You could cook at home. So you're wanting these services at the end of the day, but expecting free. You're expecting to not pay for it. That's what, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. Is you want to get out of paying for the service that you are provided. Because for some fucking reason, with that brainstem, you think you're the most important person on earth. Yeah, I'm sure the world would not be able to go on without you. If you go out to eat and you know you don't have the money to tip, you're an asshole. You can argue about what the fuck it should be all goddamn day. The fact is, it's this way. Use the service anyway, you're an asshole. You can call everybody else an asshole. You can go join these Facebook groups and Reddit threads to justify why you're an asshole, but at the end of the day, brother, you'll always be an asshole. And I just wish Moist Critical did not make a video about this. Actually, let's go look at it, shall we? Okay, so we're at the video. I'm not gonna watch the video. Basically, it's a video of a store owner freaking out on a guy that didn't tip. But the thing is, Charlie, is I know that it's not that black and white. See, if you're a server and you're this far into this video, I know that you know that not tipping is a regular occurrence. I would say it happens 10 to 20% of the time. Every day you get stiffed at some point. It's normal. It's a regular occurrence. It's not something that happens once a month, once a week, so What I think happened is the guy filming must have been very rude and disrespectful the entire time, ran up a $500 bill, and then didn't tip. Does that justify this guy's behavior? No, it doesn't. But the way Charlie's reporting it, as if it's basically all over tipping, is ridiculous because, no, I don't think this guy would get that riled up over something that happens regularly every day. Then he goes on to talk about how it should be the fucking, restaurant's responsibility to pay the wage and blah, blah, blah. And that, servers are just so underpaid, and he's so passionate about this, and his heart's in the right place. But the problem is he's incorrect in everything he says in the video. He says that we make less than minimum wage sometimes if we're not tipped enough, which just isn't true. If you work a slow day in January, and you work 4 hours and you're getting paid $6 an hour and you make $24 and that's less than minimum wage, they make up that difference. So not only are you incorrect in the assumption that fucking people, that are waiting tables are out here making less than minimum wage, that actually applies to gig work, which I'm surprised you haven't bothered talking about since you claim to care about it so much, Charlie. But serving is actually one of the few ways people can make more than minimum wage. And the reason why it's a way to make more than minimum wage is because it's a hard fucking job. It is a hard job. I see a lot of clueless motherfuckers in the comments commenting about this, and Charlie himself commenting about this, but have you ever served, brother? Because I don't think you have. It's a problem that you expect people to tip knowing that that's just how it is at restaurants that you're supposed to tip. The expectation's the problem. Especially with gig apps, whenever you expect food to spawn at your door and not be fucking, not pay for the service. You don't have to tip, it's not law. Get it right, it's not law. The fact tipping is a thing to begin with is stupid. If he indeed cared about his employees getting money, he would pay them a livable wage. That's funny, because if he paid them a livable wage, they would actually end up making less money. Do you see what I'm saying about everybody that seems to have an opinion on this doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about? And if there's nothing I can't stand, it's people talking so confidently about shit they don't know what they're talking about. If he indeed cared about his employees getting money, he would pay them a livable wage. If a server makes hourly, they are going to make less money. So, there you go. Great justification for as to why you don't tip. Thank God he didn't tip after seeing a one-sided video. I'm sure that the guy filming did nothing wrong and everything is just black and white as we see. Exactly. It depends on the restaurant. I have friends that are pulling in $2,000 to $3,000 a week. My record is $12,000 in a month. Tipping as a concept is stupid. Forcing random people to become the payroll that employees should usually have is not an ideal way to keep your employees. That's funny, because if you were to pay servers a, hourly wage, you would actually probably have less employees and have a harder time keeping them because the job would be less desirable. It is a hard job. What makes the job doable is the pay. The fact that you will walk out sometimes with $400 in cash. If you do away with those nights, it's less sought after. I love that all these people that have never waited a day in their lives keep talking about how fucked this is, tipping as a concept is, and how it would be so much better for the employees if tipping wasn't a thing, all to make your dumbass selves feel better for being stingy assholes that expect free service. Isn't that great? I don't know what pisses me off more, that people are pretending to care, that, oh, if you would just pay these employees, they would be so much better off, or that they're pretending to care to justify them not tipping. You don't care about these employees, that's why you don't tip them, you fucking idiot. You're just trying to justify it in the frame of caring about the employees. Go fuck yourself. In Washington State, everyone gets 16 minimum wage. There's no fucking tipping wage. Exactly. I'm sorry you see that as a good thing. If I were to make $16 an hour waiting tables, I wouldn't do it. The job is too fucking difficult to sit here and only make $16 an hour. And by difficult, I don't mean that the job is difficult as in it's difficult to understand. I mean it's difficult because your ass cannot fathom waiting on 10 different tables that just got sat at the same fucking time. I have never and I will never tip. You are an employee, your payment is provided by the employer. If it's not enough, don't pick that job. Because people totally pick serving gigs as as a fucking career choice. Also, tips are for good service, not for assholes that stalk you. Or is it? I have never and will never tip, but tips are for good service. So let me guess, you're an OnlyFans model and you expect tips for that, right? What service are you providing exactly? I love that these same people tip literal fucking streamers and OnlyFans models that provide nothing. My point is it pisses me off somebody like Charlie with his platform just, talks about something that he knows nothing about because he's never had to be in that position, stemming a conversation of assholes trying to justify, again, talking about something that they know nothing about. And I don't know what's more funny, the ignorance on the subject or the fact that the people that are against tipping are the same fucking people that have lived off allowance money their entire lives. I'm against handouts. I care about these employees. That's why they should get paid. All pretending to care about them as you don't tip them and suggest that they get paid less unknowingly because you're too stupid to understand what you're talking about as your entire life and existence is a handout. Should I keep going? At the end of the day, it just pisses me off that a YouTuber that I really used to look up to is, blowing a situation out of proportion without knowing anything about it, speaking on shit that he knows nothing about, suggesting ideas that would make the situation worse, and now influencing millions to think just like him. Good job, Charlie. Half of the people in your comment section are the Karens that you used to make fun of. You're a fucking sellout. I'm really happy that you finally decided to talk about Trump now that the majority are on your side. Way to have balls.